Hello, Republics. How are you? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 17 of PFthinks. Thank you, Tokwe, for joining. Welcome, because not the only you kill Jesus. We plenty for them. Good morning, Linda. How are you? Because not the only you kill Jesus, we plenty for them. Okay. You've been listening to Cobhams Asuquo and Simi, two of my favorite Nigerian artists. Anyway, welcome to another episode of PFthinks. This is episode 17. Whoa, we started 17 days ago. So if you want to catch up with us, maybe you have missed any. If you go on YouTube and my YouTube account, and you follow me, and if you search for PFthinks on my YouTube page, you will find all the episodes, and they've been amazing. Honestly, I could listen to them over and over and over again because I'm having a no holds barred session where I'm not limited by any topic. I'm taking on different issues. Yesterday, I taught on handling your upline. I'm still on the Superior Relationship Skills series. I want to appreciate someone on this forum who sent me money yesterday. Thank you very much. You know yourself. God bless you. I was so blown away because I wasn't expecting it. I'm just doing my bit. But it's so good that someone really, really thought it fit to, send something to me. I'm so grateful. Thank you. God bless you. Okay, now let's get on to business today. Now, in the relationship quadrant, I talked about the 8 lines and I talked about rules of engagement. Now, yesterday I talked about your relationship with your upline and the fact that in your own domain you may be king, but when you get someone else's domain, you are a subject. Now, that every time you attempt to be king everywhere you go, you will subject yourself to all kinds of, manipulation, and you will be rejected, resisted, and eventually you may be disgraced. So you need to observe. One of the powers that has been taken away from us in Africa is the power to observe. We never observe because, we're quick to quote, we operate by faith, not by sight. But in this case, yes, before you can activate faith, at least you need to know what you are deploying your faith to deal with, but you first need to see, right? But a lot of us don't even want to see anything. We just want to apply supernatural. And I said, if you look at the word supernatural, you will find that natural is there. Super is the extra to natural. That you need to exhaust super before you get to natural. But the problem in Africa is that, we are very religious in the sense that we don't even want to apply the natural before we go onto super. So if you check almost all the nations of the world where we want to be like, right, they are not as prayerful as we are, but they have applied natural, right? They have not even exhausted natural. Natural is looking like heaven. What happens when they begin to apply the super? But we want to apply super as our default without even the natural, right? It's like talking about extraordinary. Now, you first need to be ordinary before you apply the extra. The extra is the extra that you put in, right, to the ordinary. But when you are not even ordinary, how do you apply extra? You can't just jump into extra. So today we're going to be talking about your relationship with your downline. I've talked about your relationship with your upline, especially if you're operating in a third world economy. There are tactical rules of engagement that if you don't master them, you may lose out very easily. So I want to appreciate those of you who are joining us for the first time. Otuma, thank you so much. Moson, thank you so much for joining from Canada. Now, you need to understand that your downline or people, they are your trainees, right? Because one of the things I found out is that many of us don't have respect. We are simply respecters of men. What we complain about our leaders, we do worse things when you look at the people who look up to us. So someone say, my boss is a wicked man, my boss is a wicked man. If you go and ask the people under him, they're also saying the same thing about the person, right? That we have a way of treating people who are royalties. We treat them with respect and courtesy. Then the people who look up to us, we treat them anyhow, and we just we treat them anyhow. And I was saying yesterday that one of the lessons my mother taught me, by the way, my mother is always listening to this. So I'm a bit careful what I say now, because she's always scrutinizing what I say. I say, no, this one, but thank you, Mom. You taught me a whole lot about relationship. My mother will usually teach us when we were growing up. I remember two of her quotes. Be nice to the people you meet on your way up because you might need them on your way down. She was always saying that to us. Then she would say that, learn to close the door gently because you might need to pass through that door again. These were lessons never lost on me. Now, so your downline is your trainee. You need to understand that. Your downline is your disguised legacy. The bane in Africa is that successful people don't have successors because successful people never ever want to leave power. Now, ideally, you need to understand that your success is when you can morph from a star player to become a star coach, right? At the level of star coach, you are now producing other players. That is how to cement your legacy. But what has happened here is people become star players. They get used to becoming star players that they now forget that times and seasons will happen, right? So they never learn how to reinvent themselves till they become irrelevant or a nuisance to the people they are leading. Now, one of my sisters was putting up something yesterday, about a certain artist who, is still singing, but nobody's listening to him anymore. And I said it was because he missed his time and season. He didn't know when to morph from a star to a system. We all must never make that mistake, right? There must be a time in your life that you move from talent to becoming a producer of talent. When you move from a talent to a producer of talent, you become a system on whose others stand to rise. And you see, the system is more important than the star player. Between Barcelona and Lionel Messi, of course, you know Lionel Messi, but Barcelona is more important than Lionel Messi because Lionel Messi is simply a star on Barcelona's system, right? There was a Ronaldinho there wearing that same jersey number 10. Before Ronaldinho, there was another player there. There will always be other players, right? So you need to understand that if you do not see the need to grow people, mentor people, right, you are going to miss your season. And the time will come, people that used to look up to you, you will start going to bid for the same jobs. You will now wear tie at 60, bidding for same jobs that 20-year-olds should be doing. So when you see the way we appoint leaders, for example, in Nigeria, you say minister for youth or something, or commissioner for youth in some state, and the commissioner for youth is 70-year-old, you'll be asking yourself, what exactly is this man looking out for? That a time comes in your life, you are offered some roles, and you say, no, don't give me this role. I have people I have trained. Can I recommend them? Now, our inability to recommend people to take up roles. There are times that Lagos State government invites me to come and speak. I'll just tell someone, in my office to say, you know what? I'm going to tell them that I'm not going to be available, but I'm going to recommend you to go. And they are looking at me and I said, because yes, I don't want to be the only star, because when you are the only star, once you are taken out, that's the end of your movement. But once you replicate yourself in other people, Jesus' movement has endured over time. Prophet Muhammad's movement, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has endured over time, because they raised people, right? Once you don't learn to raise people to be partakers of what you are doing, you are going to fizzle out. Nobody's going to remember you. When we talk about Mahatma Gandhi, it's not because they were that supernatural. People like Mahatma Gandhi are remembered because they raised people. Now, so your downline is your disguised legacy. I cringe when I see people who have mentees who carry their bag, carry their stuff for 27 years, for 15 years. The man is the only one talking. Every other person is just carrying his bag and they are saying they are his mentee. I will never understand it. Your greatest success must be when you sit down and watch your mentees do things. As a matter of fact, I sometimes will send my people out and they are speaking on the same platform with the people who consider themselves to be my competitors, right? And they're like, where's your boss? He's sending you, and after a while they say, your girl or your guy, he did so well, right? I was in Port Harcourt one day. I'd done like 6 days. And I was supposed to fly into Lagos to take a session, which was supposed to be one of my biggest meetings. But as I was at the airport, they kept postponing the flight, and I knew I wasn't going to meet it. What did I do? I sent my slide to the office, and I called someone, and I said, please, head there now. You are going to do it. He was prepared because I have empowered them over time. He went there, did very well. They told me, praise, we didn't miss you. That's what it means. You need to empower people. Now, so if you don't have anyone in your life that you are training or you are grooming, your success is going to fizzle out. Nobody's going to remember you after a while. Why? Because you did not follow the rule of life, which says you must always morph from being a player to being a coach or a producer of talent. Now, we were going to Festac one day, and along Oshodi, Ibadan Expressway, there's a man, who used to be very, very popular, a popular figure in Nigerian Pentecostal movement, very, very popular. So one of my interns was with me, and as we saw his picture, I said, do you know this man? She said, no, I don't know him. And I said, you don't know this man? He said, I don't know him, right? And so I just laughed. And she said, why did you laugh? I said, for you not to know this person is exactly what I've been teaching you, to say that, you know what, this person many years ago used to be very, very big. Everybody used to run in there, but you see, the younger generation are not aware of this person anymore. You know why? Because this person is still a star player, even though in his old age, right? I'm not saying people should retire compulsorily, but you must understand that your face cannot sell your movement forever, except you learn to reinvent yourself. When you mention Barcelona or Manchester United or many of the clubs that have endured, there is no face that can show up in your mind. If I say Manchester United, most likely it's Alex Ferguson that will show up. But Ferguson does not own Man United. If I say Barcelona, maybe Lionel Messi will show up. But you don't even know the president facially, but it's a system that has endured. That's exactly how to relate with your downline. Your downlines are your disguised legacy. Your downline is a raw gold that require your refinery. So you must learn to be the one who refines them in a way that they never forget about you, right? You must not treat them anyhow. I remember my first job after school. I got a job, and and because I didn't announce, because I've never used my certificate to work, I studied accounting, I didn't announce that I was an accountant or I went to school or whatever. I just got to the department because I wanted to run away from home. I didn't want to do the bank job that, my father was positioning me to go and get, So there was this lady, she would just send me on errand all the time. So one day I was doing my work in my department, and she said, please come and help me go and buy Bolly. And I was like, oh, madam, I'm very busy. She just looked at me, flared up, talked to me anyhow, said, look at these foolish people, drop out, they'll come and work here instead of them to go to school and blah, blah, blah. For the first time, I remember my degree. And I wanted to give it to her raw, but I kept quiet, and trust me, I started shedding tears. Now, as I was crying, I remember clearly, Kunle Shorion and I were in the same office. And I remember PK walked up to me and said to me what happened. And I told him, and he said to me, praise, in the place of work, there are two types of people. He said, there you have the water and you have the fire. He said the goal of water is to refresh you and make the place comfortable for you. And they feel you when you're thirsty. He said, but the goal of fire is to burn you. But they said in burning you, they refine you. He said their role is just to burn you, refine you, so that when you move on, they are still remaining and they have not moved anywhere. Now, I took that in and I went to run the errands. Years later, I left the place of work. I'd just shown up on CNN, I'd just been interviewed, and I was at ShopRite with my wife, and this woman saw me and she ran towards me. And she said, wow, 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 Praise, I've been looking for your number. Come and meet my husband. I told my husband that you were the best staff we had, blah, 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 blah. She just kept on ranting. I said, this woman has forgotten how she treated me. But guess what? She refined me. So sometimes when you are a downline and you are working with an upline who is making life miserable for you, if you take it as the person is wicked to you, you will not learn the lesson you need to learn. But if you take it as this person is fire, it's not going anywhere, it's just created to refine me and burn me, you get the better, you will understand how to interface with the person and how to survive a difficult boss. And trust me, life always changes. The people you treat anyhow with ignominy, you will meet them somewhere in the future. Now, your downline is a world-class player in need of a world-class coach. They're going to make mistakes. Don't use their mistakes against them, right? Your downline is your reference point and your ultimate scorecard. You must be able to say, having worked for 10, 15 years, that see the people I've raised. The question you must answer as an upline is, if you don't have the ability to pay your people anymore, will they stay with you? I tell you, I've had people who pass through me all the time. Most of the time, I call them back to come and do things for me. They run towards me to come and do things, right? And in fact, they always tell me, Praise, if you can't pay us for 1 year, we're going to stay with you. You know why? Because I have never treated them anyhow or talked them down. All I want to do is to improve people, and that's what we must always do. Your downline is your key to living forever. Everything you do is a contribution to his book. So when you walk past people, don't chalk them down, don't treat them anyhow, including gatemen, because you may never know how much value your gate man can have to you, or the artisans, or the cleaners, or people around. You might never know, right? You may fall sick one day and they know exactly the herbs you need to get healed, which is why, you see, I always tell people, when you pray the prayer, God, reduce me to love, you don't have to bother whether you are going to miss rapture, because once you have been reduced to love, when Jesus appears as a gate man, you will take care of him. He said, I was sick, you took me in, you visited me. I was in prison, you visited me. I was hungry, you fed me. If you have been reduced to love, which means you have respect for humanity, you will treat everyone with equal treatment. Now, the question you need to answer today is that the people who look up to you, or your downline, your domestic servant, if you don't have to pay them, will they work for you? If your answer is no, you need to change something about what you're doing right now. You need to understand that life is not all about you. I mean, I sent one of my people to Benin to go and represent me one day, and the guy came back. I mean, they paid him like 400K. I remember clearly. And he came to my office and he gave me the money. He said, Oga, this was what they paid me. And I said to him, no, it's your money. He said, no, Oga, it's you. Whatever you give me, I'll take. I said, no, take your money. Just go around, settle all the other staffs, buy them lunch or something. Just give them something. That's fine. And he couldn't believe. He was almost going to be in tears because he's never heard that from speaking before. And I said to him, you were the one that traveled. What if a plane crash had happened there? You would have died, right? So you took the risk. You went to represent me quite all right. You used my slide quite all right. But it was you. It's your money, right? And later he came to meet me. He said, sir, do you know that every other person I've worked for, when I go to represent them, they collect the money back from me, and they pocket it. And I said, well, I wasn't taught like that. The father and the mother that raised me, they didn't raise us like that. I mean, my father has a dispassionate approach to money. You can't catch him when it comes to money. You can't catch him in the area of money at all. And that's the same training he has given to all of us to say, you know what, we can all enjoy. When you try to accumulate wealth to yourself alone and you are making money and the people look like riffraffs around you, something is fundamentally wrong. Your people must benefit. I mean, early enough in life, when I used to do consulting and training for banks, I used to pay the people who follow me what we call sitting allowance, just to sit down and observe. Yeah, they are intense, but you see, when you are earning and the people around you are not benefiting from anything you are earning, right? A time is coming, they're going to wake up to the reality that you are using them, right? And that's not the attitude, or that's not the report card you want to hear about yourself. So how do you handle your downline? How do you handle your downline, and what must you not do? The word is mentor. I have taught a series on mentoring. In this series, you can go back to my previous videos on YouTube and listen to the session on mentoring. But you see, here, the word mentor, M, is you need to motivate and mentor your downline, your mentoring is not for them to be your clone. Your mentoring them is for them to be themselves. The goal of mentoring is not to recruit servants. The goal of mentoring is to form people. Formation is the goal of mentoring, for them to be themselves. So if you have low self-esteem and insecurity, don't mentor people, because when they now become better than you, you will become jealous of the same people you raised. In fact, I always tell people that the moment you become jealous of your mentee, something is wrong with you, because the highest level of mentoring is when your mentees become your mentor. There are some of my mentees right now who mentor me in certain areas because they are better than me in that area. I am humble enough to submit myself to their intelligence in those areas. So motivate and mentor. Educate, empower, and endure with them. Educate your mentees. Show them how it's done. Show them the trade secrets. Empower them. Let them go and do it. Watch them do it, right? If they make a mistake, correct them, but watch them do it, then endure with them. When they make mistakes, don't rule them out. And network them, right? Network them. Let them have access to power. Let them have access. Take them for meetings, right? Introduce them to people. There are meetings, like I said, that I will not go for, not because I am not supposed to go for it, but I will send my people because I need to expose them, to certain people. Because if it's just all about you, if anything happens to you, your doors will be closed permanently because you have not allowed others come in. So you need to learn to network them, because when they network, it increases their net worth, right? So you need to open them up to your doors, open them up to the people you know, open them up to relationships that can benefit them, and you need to coach them on how to handle access, right? The T in the mentoring is touch them with wisdom, right? Give them things, let them feel your impact, right? Sometimes buy them gifts, sometimes give advice, give counsel, right? Let them become the hub that they can walk up to you and tell you anything and everything. The moment your people cannot tell you things and they are hiding from you, it means you are communicating something that is not right. Sometimes you need to sit with them and get them to ask you questions. And sometimes when you know you are wrong, you need to say, I am sorry. I got into an argument with one of my mentees yesterday, and the moment I left, where, we had that meeting, I had to go back, because I just felt, no, you shouldn't have argued about this case. I had to go back to say, I am sorry. I shouldn't have argued with you. I've been under some pressures lately, and I explained, to the person to say, you know what, I am sorry. I'm sure the person was blown away to say, what kind of person is this? That you are a leader doesn't mean you are infallible. It means you can make mistakes, and if you can make mistakes, you must be ready to say, I'm sorry. Don't fool people and try to explain your irresponsibility away. So learn to touch them, or open your door with wisdom. It's not that you want to help, doesn't mean you tell everything, you open your door, because not everyone can handle access. Not everyone can handle, your nudity, as it were. And I'm using nudity, with inverted commas, right? It's not every secret you reveal almost immediately, but if it's trade secret that can help the person, reveal it, let them begin to say it. But there are things they can't handle yet, so you need to test them and be sure that this person can handle it. At some point, Jesus said, I no longer call you servants, I now call you friends, which means you can upgrade them, right? R in the mentor is respect and recommend them. I was once with a man who told me that, can you imagine what just happened? I said, what happened? He said, the governor just called me, and the governor said I should recommend three people from my movement. It was a religious movement, to become commissioners, right? And I said, what did you say, sir? He said, I couldn't recommend anybody. I said, why? He said, because I don't want them to come and disgrace me and go and steal and mess up my name, and I'll be quoted as the one that recommended them, right? And I said, what does that mean? He said, because I can't really trust them. So I asked him a question, because I always tell people that praise is a specialist as asking stupid questions. So I asked him, I said, sir, if it was your son that the governor had said you should recommend, your biological son, what would you have done? Would you say you can't trust him? He said, no, I can recommend my son. I said, sir, and you see, even though I am very, very diplomatic, I know also when to be blunt, especially as a consultant. So I said, sir, don't you think something is wrong? If these people who serve you day and night, they kill behind your back, expense at their own cost, they serve you for free. opportunities now open up. You couldn't recommend them because they are not your children. So I asked him, I said, sir, what is fatherhood and what exactly is mentoring when you have deprived these people of an opportunity that can change their life, change people around them, and even help the people? I said, don't you think it's an indictment on your system that the governor asked you to recommend 3 people and you couldn't recommend 3 credible people? I remember when my mentor was alive, Dr. Miles Monroe, one day said to me, he said, Praise, no, he said, Ola, because that's what he calls me, call Ola Dimeji, that's what he calls me. He said, Ola, do you know that the government just asked me to nominate 100 men from our church who can mentor young people across Bahamas? Right, that is success, right? If you don't have people to recommend, or you cannot recommend your people, something is wrong with you. If you always think you are the one that must occupy the role, which is why sometimes when I see the people vying for presidency in Nigeria, I am asking myself, why can't these people produce someone that they have raised? And you say, what? You know what? I am not young enough. I'm no longer young. It's time for us to watch the people we have raised do it, right? A success must produce successors. A good person, a good leader must have a repertoire of people, which is why sometimes I tell people, you may not agree with me, no matter what you want to say about a certain politician in Nigeria. You can say it's corrupt, you can say it's not corrupt, but when it comes to talent management and production of mentees who are performing at the highest level, you cannot take it away from him. You may say it's corrupt, it's crooked, whatever. It's your business. But when it comes to talent management and ability to produce the best public officers that Nigeria has witnessed who have performed well in their role, you have to give it to that man because he sure knows how to find them, how to raise them, and how to empower them, right? So you must respect your downlines and you must recommend them. What must you not do? Don't crush them, right? See, in that crush is don't criticize them too often, right? Because if you criticize them too often, you can break their spirit. Even when you criticize them, you need to go and lift their spirits after. Don't rush them and don't rule them out. Never ever make the statement that I know it's all over for you. It's not all over for any man. I remember I was going to leave a place of work, one time because I felt it was my time to leave, and they called me to an office and they told me 7 people that left that place and they disappeared. And the man told me, Praise, I don't think you should leave because if you leave, nobody will hear about you again. So I looked at the man and I said, are you speaking as God or you are speaking as man? Because I left my father's movement to come here, right? So when you are telling me I will disappear, I don't understand. Maybe it's God. You have become God. And he said, okay, go. If your mind is made up. The same person who said that, made that statement, right, years later called me and he said, Praise, I want to apologize because I've seen that you have proven all of us wrong, right? So you need to understand that you cannot rule out your mentees, even in their mistakes, in their errors. Let me tell you this. There are people who will not change with you, right? But you have sown the seed that will create their change later in life, right? Everything you're trying to teach them, they will understand later. I mean, I have a lady who worked with me, and then when she went to work elsewhere, she called me back and said, Praise, you are the best person I've worked with. If you want me back today, I will come back, I will resign, and I'll come and say, because I didn't know how much you have placed in me until I left you, right? You need to understand that you must never rule people out. No matter their mistakes, no matter their errors, you must not rush them, and you must not rule them out. You in the crush, don't underrate them. Don't underrate them. Your people are not fools. One of the sickness of high flyers is to think that you are the brain of everything. Everything is domiciled in your brain. So you want to, say everything. You want to be right at all times. Your people know certain things that may not find expression if you don't give the platform. So don't underrate them. Don't underrate your gate man. Gate men have access to information that the MD never have access to. But if you don't treat them right, they won't supply you with that information. I have someone who has been rescued from armed robbery in his estate because of the way he was treating the policemen in that area, and he was treating the gateman because he's supplying with the information, and they told him not to sleep at home that day. And that was how the guy escaped a massive armed robbery that almost robbed everyone in his estate and, deprived them of all their hard-earned income or whatever, right? So don't underrate the people under you. Don't subjugate and don't subdue. Don't subjugate and don't subdue. I once had an official driver attached to me in a place I worked. Mr. Benga, Mr. Benga was hired to drive us, but I have never, while working there, sat behind him I always sit beside him, right? So I would sit beside him, and if I had to eat, whatever I bought was what I would buy for him. And that's the same way I've treated all my drivers ever since, right? If I go inside Mr. Biggs or go inside any eatery, whatever I bought for myself is what I'll buy for them. Because there is no point buying gala for them when you are eating chicken. You may just be the only hope for them to eat chicken. When we go for training, I ensure they come into the training. If buffet is served, they eat from the buffet. You might just be their only hope of experiencing a higher lifestyle. Now, so I always sat beside him. Everything I had was what he had. When I resigned and I left that place, I went to start on my own outfit in 2003, May 1st, I remember. By the following week, he came to look for me. I said, what's up? He said he has resigned. I said, why? He said, my Oga, you are the only one who sits beside me. Every other person talks to me anyhow. He said, I want to resign to come and work for you. I said, Mr. Benga, I don't have money to pay you. In fact, we have not made a dime yet, right? Can you go back? He said, no, Oga. I said, I don't even have a car. He said, Oga, I will stay with you and I'll be praying till God bless you with a car. I will drive you. So I had to appeal. He was almost adamant. He was crying. I said, Mr. Benga, you need to go back. I'll call the place and I'll tell them to reabsorb you back, but don't worry, the day I have so I had to beg him to go back because I wasn't able to afford a salary. I wouldn't have been able to pay him because and I didn't even have a car. But that is the spirit. It really touched my spirit to say, every little thing you do to people, they never forget. So don't subjugate and don't subdue. Don't humiliate. Don't humiliate your people, right? Don't disgrace them in front of everybody. Don't talk them down, right? You need to lift their spirit. You might correct them, but you need to lift their spirit. Don't make them feel like fools, right? So don't humiliate them. Now, you need to ask the following question. Who is your most difficult upline? What do you dislike about that? Your most difficult downline. What do you dislike about that person? What memorable experience can you give them, right? So, for example, you can help them fly for the first time. Some of them have not flown by here before. Nobody in their family has traveled by here. You might make that happen for them. Let them have something to remember you for, and you are doing it not because you want to hone their heart or buy their loyalty, no, but because you want to change their life. So, what memorable experience can you give your downline? Maybe your gate man. I remember that my mom taught us to give food to gate men. So when we cook, we give food to people we didn't even know, right? In my mother's house till date, you'll still find people that we don't even know how she got to meet them. She's paying school fees and blah, blah, blah. That was the way we were raised, right? So what memorable experience can you give your downline? How many people are you intentionally mentoring at the moment? If you have nobody you are mentoring, let me say it carefully, you are likely wasting your time and wasting your life and wasting the resources God has placed in you. You need to find 2-3 people that you are pouring yourself into regular. There are people I teach every day, right? So you need to find people who you are mentoring. Then how many people will rise through you in that organization or wherever you are? How many people will rise through you that you say, wow, I recommended this person, I recommended that person. You know what it means when you are the kingmaker and all your boys have become governors, they have become commissioners, there are people like that. But what we find out is that oftentimes people don't understand that the kingmaker is superior to the king. But many people, God has placed them as kingmakers, fathers of a nation, but they want to go for the role of the president or they want to go for the role as the governor because they are not comfortable in the role God has placed them. How many people will be willing to live with you if you want to go and start your own thing? Wherever you are right now, if you want to go and start something new, how many people will abandon what they are doing to go and be with you? Someone said to me, I said, oh, praise, when are you going to start a church? And I said, you know what? That's not a priority for me. I love what I'm doing right now. But I said to him, I said, I have guys around town that I've raised over time. I spent 8 years of my life every Sunday evening with guys and ladies in Ajegunle. I have those guys around, right, that they look up to me even till date. I said, you know what, if I want to start, if I pull them out, you'll be shocked that the whole place will be packed. But you see, my default mode is, let us strengthen all the churches that is already available. We already have too many churches anyway, right? Let us strengthen the ones that are available instead of trying to replicate another one, except God says otherwise, because I've learned not to say never and right now, but I don't even see that, right? Because there's a whole lot I need to do. But what I'm saying is you need to raise enough people in a way that whatever you decide to start, there's enough people who are willing to start with you. Why? Because you have selflessly raised them. So guys, I want you to know that, you see, People never forget it when you touch them. My mother shared a story with me of a dog that had the owner. The owner of the dog, we usually take care of this dog. We eat with this dog. If the owner was eating chicken, this dog will eat exactly the same chicken. After a while, the owner died. When they were going to bury the owner, this dog was following them. Now, after they buried the owner, this dog stayed behind, stood there, refused to go back home. They came to carry this dog home. The dog went back to the burial ground, right? Stayed there. So they brought food for this dog every day there. That was where that dog stood till the dog died. Now, the question is, what did this owner do to this dog that an animal, a dog who is an animal, never forgot what the owner did? It's the same way. When you touch people, they never forget what you have done, right? There's a song that says, only remember for what you have done. So you need to understand that whatever you are doing is a chapter in the book of people's life. Whatever you do to them is your chapter. You are writing your chapter in their life. Question is, what will be the content of your chapter? Will you be known as someone who pulled them down, who accumulated all wealth to yourself and forgot about them? Or will you be known as someone who lifted as many people as possible, raised them everywhere you go? The choice is yours. When we come back tomorrow, we will move to the peer line. How do you relate with your colleagues? I hope you have learned something today. Please listen to this over and over again, but don't just listen. Practicalize what we're learning. Find someone that you can inspire, that you can build. Find someone you can pour yourself into and selflessly do this. That is what makes the world work. That is what the Jews do. The Jews they attach you to a mentor almost immediately to learn how to be successful, and that's something that has made them very successful. I think the Igbos also have that apprenticeship model where a master, has an apprentice, a mentee who learns the trade over a period of time. Then the master settles the person after a while. So the same way you have people who have different boys everywhere. Don't be envious of them. You find your own people, inspire them. There's someone around your street. There's a gate man somewhere around you. There is a housekeeper around you. There's a house help around you. Inspire them. There is someone in your unit, someone below you, the janitor, the gate man. Inspire them, make their life better. Give them books to read. Let them always remember you for good. Something happened, and that's where I will stop. I got a call one day from a guy who had boarded Uber, right? And I didn't know him. So he said, oh, Mr. Praise, I'm a passenger in this Uber. He said, but I just want to thank you. I said, why? He said, because the person driving this Uber told me that he was your first driver. His name is Chukudi, right? He said, Chukudi had been talking about me all through their ride. He said, apparently he was trying to preach to Chukudi, and Chukudi said, no, that you don't know me, that if you know the person that raised me, his name is Mr. Praise for where he's been the best guy I have ever. If he calls me today, as I'm driving right now, I will abandon you here and go and meet him. Right? So the guy wanted to know, what did I do to this guy that he spoke so glowingly about me, and I laughed. Right? And I said, you know what? It's my default mode. That's the same way with all my drivers. If I call them back, they want to come back, because we must always treat people right. When we touch people, they never forget. And remember, you will not be remembered for how good of a star player you were. You were remembered by the number of people that rose through you to become star players. Star players must morph into star coaches, star systems that is producing other winning players. If you are the only one people are seeing, something is fundamentally wrong. All your people must rise as well. Your children must speak with the enemies at the gate. I hope you have learned something today. We come back tomorrow 3 a.m. same time. Thank you for all of you who are just joining us for the first time. We do this every day at 3 a.m. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.